Hey guys, I'm Greg. Welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Let's go see what's in the fridge today, guys. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. Today's beer comes from Dogfish Head. This is the Raisin D Extra. And guys, I wasn't expecting, I looked at this beer before I got it out of the fridge a little while ago, and it didn't have the alcohol content on the label anywhere, and I figured, it's probably a 8, 9, 10, maybe even 11%er. This beer is 18.5%. And it's not on the label anywhere. They need to write that on the frickin' label, that you're drinking an 18.5%er. Now it's got the bright yellow caution cap on it that they put on their huge beers, but I wasn't expecting it to be an 18.5%er. I usually save those for the final beer of the evening, and this maybe end up being the final beer of the evening since it's so big. This is a huge beer. This is a freaking huge beer, 18.5%. I know this beer was probably $12 to $15. Their Dogfish 120 here is around $10 to $12 depending on where you get it. And this is an 18.5%er. Wow. God. I'm hoping it's not going to be too boozy. The beer like this needs to be cellared. And they've got a date on this, and it is half smudged off, guys. I'll look at it when I come back. I can't hardly read it now. It looks like it's a 14 edition, which is probably a good thing. Brandon sent me this. Brandon, thanks again, my brother, for all the beers, the wonderful beers that you send me. This looks like a ass-kicking beer. So we'll see where it ends up. I'm a big fan of Dogfish Head beers. I love their 60 and their 90, and they do a bunch of special stuff that some of them are kind of hit and miss in my opinion. Some of them are really tasty and some of them are not so much. So we'll see where this one ends up. And I think I have had their Raisin d'Etre, and this is an imperial version of that evidently. So we'll see where it ends up. And I thought it was a brown ale. According to what it has on the label, it says ale brewed with raisins, and I was expecting, that's probably a brown ale. This is an American strong ale. 18.5%. That blows me away that it's that big of a beer and that it's not written on the label anywhere. They should write that on the label. Alright, says the commercial description says Raisin d'Etre is their amped up version of the Raisin Extra is their amped up version of the Raisin d'Etre. It is brewed from a similar grist, raisins included, to a massive 42P, which is Play-Doh, giving it a 20.5 ABV along with 20 IBUs and a color of 20 level bond. 18.5 ABV in an 2005 12-ounce release. So evidently when they brew these monster beers it changes from year to year. That's why I like to see it on the label. Instead of them using the same label year after year after year, and the alcohol goes up and down, and it could be 18, 20, it could be all over the place. So it needs to be written somewhere on the bottle what you're buying, especially when it's not broken down here and they just classify them all together. So food pairings for this style of beer, guys, it says cuisines: barbecue, cheesy sharp blue cheddar, your stronger cheeses, meats, beef, and grilled meat, glassware, snifter, tulip, goblet, or chalice, oversized wine glass. My favorite, snifter, and can be sold for a long, long time. I would say so. At 18.5%, this beer keeps 20 years. Not a doubt in my mind. So I'm kind of scared of this one. This is a huge damn beer. This is a very big beer. Wasn't expecting to drink an 18.5%. If that's actually what it is, I'm not sure. It says here it could be 20%. Nice little hiss, a little bit of smoke. 18.5%. You think it's going to pour a big head? Let's find out. Well, we're going to pour it down the center, but we're going to pour it slowly. About a finger of head on an 18.5%er. Pretty impressive. It is murky brown, guys. I see a little bit of light through the thin part of the glass. Very brown, very dark brown right here in the big bowl part of the glass. Let's get a nose on this one. Like I said, I might be a little skittish of this. Big sweet malt. Very reminiscent to me of a barley wine smell. Hints of the raisins are in there. Maybe a little bit of dark fruit too. Very sweet back end. And like I said, they're saying it's only got 20 IBUs. So not a lot of bitterness for that much malt. Slight hint of some alcohol, so let's give it a taste. Cheers everybody. Cheers Brandon. Very sweet, very big, very rich, very bold, slightly boozy. And it's hard to hide that much alcohol, guys. It really, really is. Like I said, this beer will keep 10 years, 15 years, even 20 years, that much alcohol. They need to write that on the label, though, what you're buying, so you'll know. Especially if it's changing from year to year. Toffee, caramel, big sweet notes. Very well made though. I was expecting kerosene at 18.5%. And like I said, it has a date on it, but it's kind of smudged. It says bottled on and it is smudged up big time, guys. I see 11, and then it looks like it may be 20 or 2 something, and then it says 14. So this is a November, whatever day of 2014. When you get to this style of beer, the date's not critical. November of 2014. That's all the information you need. It tells you whether it was January of 2014 or November or December, the end of the year, beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. So you'll know how old the beer is. But this one looks like it's November of 2014, so not quite. This is the 27th of July, not quite to November of 2016, not quite 2 years old. So this one could probably be selling for a little bit longer and let it combine and mature a little bit more, and maybe some of the booziness would go away. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But monster beer, definitely a sipper, guys, and I'm going to take this out and sip on it and probably fire up a stogie and let her have a sip, 2 or 3. I didn't give her too much. I did that the other day. I did 3 or 4 big beers, and I poured her, and they were big bottles, and I poured her a glass out of each one of them. Time I got to the end of the beer, she was staggering around, drunk as a pig. Of course, I'm sure I had my buzz going on, but it was pretty funny watching her stagger around and all that. Cause she's a little bit smaller girl than I am, 4'7", 120 pounds, 125 pounds or something. So a lot different than me, 280 pounds. So it kicked her butt. It kicked her butt. So let's take this out and sip on it, fire up a stick and sip on it. Definitely sip on it and see where this one ends up. Big beer! Alright guys, I'm back. Been sitting on about 30 minutes now. Very tasty. a very impressive beer, a very big beer, monster beer as a matter of fact, they do need, in my opinion, to have an ABV on the label. So you know what you're buying or what you're drinking if you're having this at a bar or a brew pub or somewhere like that. If you if you're at a brew pub and you're drinking this and don't know what you're drinking, you have two of these and technically you're drunk. So that's why I do all my drinking here at the house, guys. So I ain't got to worry about driving anywhere or hurting anybody. You got to be responsible when you're drinking beers of this magnitude. This is a monster beer. So they need to have it on the label, and they do not. Probably the biggest reason they're probably not going to get a massive score from me. Yeah, I do think it's an A beer, but I would like to see a better dating process where the information can be smudged off and have the ABV on the label, and the IBUs would help too. I mean, just so you would know. I do understand that all these different ABVs have to have different label approvals, and that's the way it is. So be it. If you're in the beer business and you're producing beers from year to year, and they're different ABVs, they should have different labels. They should have that ABV on the label. That's how I feel. I'm so sorry. If that chaps your ass, so be it. It should be on the label, especially when you get to whatever this beer is, 18.5%, 20%, whatever the frick it is. So it should be on the label so you know what you're having. Let's do the final chug on this one. Monster beer, it is. Very nice. Alcohol is still there. Like I said, a great candidate to cellar for 5, 10, 15, even 20 years or longer. The alcohol is there, guys. I will tell you that. Even though this is a 2014 edition, this is it's almost 2 years old. This is July 27th of 2016. The booziness is still there. It's hard to hide that on this big of a beer. So, very barley wine-esque. That's what the other half says when she smelled it. Is this a barley wine? No, it's an American Strong Ale, but it's a monster beer. Final chug. Great beer. Great beer to cellar. And that's probably what I wish I would have done with this one. Even though Brandon paid hard-earned money and paid to ship it to me. And I like to review these beers in a timely manner, even though some of these are pretty big, huge, monster size beer as far as alcohol is concerned. Great beers to cellar. Unless you're just in a hurry to get into Hammer Lane fast. And this will beat you there fast. 18.5% to 20%, somewhere in that vicinity. I'm not exactly sure. It's not written on the label, guys. So, for me, guys, I'm going to give it the 8, which is an A-. Numeric score on this would probably be 92, because it does have a date on the bottom. But it's half smudged. Over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate says 90 in the outstanding range. I'm in pretty close agreement with that. That's about where I would put it, like I said, at the bottom of the A score. It's definitely an A beer, though. It's very well made. A nice, sweet, toffee, caramelly, dark fruit, raisin, plums, dates, figs taste. Very nice. Drink this one at home. Don't drink this out in a bar or a brew pub or anywhere else, unless you got somebody that's going to drive you. 2 of these beers, you're intoxicated. Probably one on a lot of small frame individuals, like my wife and a lot of small guys or whatever. It's a big beer. It is a big beer. Over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer says 98 overall and 95 in the style. So they're giving it a little bit better numbers than I am. And that's basically because it doesn't have the ABV on the label or any kind of IBUs. And evidently the recipe's changing from year to year and they're not printing that on the label. Dogfish Head. I've been there, been to the brewery. Sam Callion can afford to put that. He can do different labels. He's a very successful businessman, runs a very successful brewery there, and he distributes beers quite widely, and he can afford to do different labels, but they don't. So that's why they got the score that they got for me today, guys. Brandon, thanks again, my brother, for sending me this beer. Very impressive, very huge beer, very nice beer, a great beer to cellar. So if you've had this one from them, let me know what you think. And guys, come on back tomorrow. Let's see what we can dig out of the fridge. See everybody then.